Fox News alert on this Monday morning, a third straight night of celebrations down in Miami following the death of former Cuban dictator Fidel Castro in Havana. A 9-day period of mourning is underway for the brutal dictator, and a memorial service is set to start in just a couple hours.
Rick Leventhal is in Miami's Little Havana with the latest. Hey, Rick.
Good morning, guys. We're outside the Cafe Versailles, which has been the unofficial capital for Miami's massive Cuban exile community for decades now. This is where they come to discuss all things Castro and where they demonstrate as well. And we've seen that since Friday night. Large crowds coming here and spilling out onto Southwest 8th Street, better known as Calle Ocho, waving American and Cuban flags, chanting and singing, honking horns, and banging on pots and pans and demonstrating and celebrating the death of a dictator, a man who they say imprisoned thousands of people, stole homes, and ruined lives in Cuba. And a man who they had no love for here in the United States. In March, as you may recall, President Obama became the first sitting U.S. president to visit Cuba in some 80 years. He opened diplomatic relations with the Castro regime. He lifted economic embargoes, and he allowed commercial flights through executive order. But on Fox News Sunday, President-elect Donald Trump's incoming chief of staff told Chris Wallace that that deal could now be in jeopardy.
If he doesn't get whatever it is that he wants, would he reverse President Obama's opening to Cuba?
Well, absolutely. I mean, he's already said that that would be the case. I mean, and what that deal is yet to be determined, but there is going to have to be some movement from Cuba in order to have a relationship with the United States. And I think the president-elect has been very clear about that.
It's still unclear if any U.S. officials will attend Fidel Castro's funeral scheduled for December 4th. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich says under no circumstances should President Obama or Vice President Biden, or Secretary Kerry attend. Both Obama and Kerry have released statements in support and offering condolences to the Cuban people.
All right, Rick Leventhal live in Little Havana. We thank you very much.
Very interesting to see if President Obama shows up. Or Vice President.
Yeah, there are a lot of people saying he really can't. All right, Pete?
I showed up.
You did.
Good morning.
We're glad you did.
How are you?
Glad to be here.
Okay, so the president-elect has been down at Mar-a-Lago, his estate down in Palm Beach, for the last 4 days. He's back here, tying up traffic over on Fifth Avenue. He's got a whole bunch of people he's going to be talking to today. What are the names that... And there you can see a lot of folks, including David Clark, second from the left on the top.
Yep.
Who would you like to talk about?
Well, I mean, I think who everyone's talking about right now is the Secretary of State race. Not to turn away from those, but I think he took the weekend to get information, to get more input, to ponder the decision. I think the critics that are saying, oh my goodness, he's dragging his feet, there's all this political discourse and folks coming out and talk about. I think he wants that tug of war. He's going to make the decision. He's a confident guy. He knows what he's looking for. So between Giuliani and General Petraeus and obviously Romney, who's in the mix,
Ambassador Bolton's
in the mix, General Kelly of Southern Command, General Petraeus, all of those are quality names. I think he wants to. This process is a crucible. How people react in those 3 or 4 days, what they do, tells you a lot about that person. So they'll call it delay. I would call it being deliberate and being confident that I want the best person to govern. And the fact that Romney's in the mix shows that he's willing to look at anybody.
As a veteran, who do you like the most out of all the lists and all the people we're talking about?
Well, I love General Mattis for Secretary of Defense, which is still outstanding. Maybe we'll get an announcement on that. I love General Petraeus. I think Ambassador John Bolton is fantastic. I think the picks he's already made, General Flynn, KT McFarland. Critics will say, wow, there's a lot of generals, there's a lot of military. Well, Barack Obama has pushed out that ethos, and I think Donald Trump wants to bring that back. Be strong, be tough, make sure our military is prepared to be a war-fighting institution. And diplomacy, war is an extension of diplomacy. So more warfighters understand that diplomacy is critically important and should always be on the table.
What's kind of interesting is Governor Huckabee with us, I think on Wednesday or Tuesday, they're kind of blurring together, came out and kind of ripped into the thought of Mitt Romney being Secretary of State, as did Newt Gingrich, doubled down, even sounded more anxious about that prospect. And then Kellyanne Conway came out over the weekend and made it clear she was going to, the tweet was no mistake. Yeah. I feel terrible about it. Listen to Kellyanne Conway this weekend.
I think that there was the Never Trump movement, and then there was Governor Mitt Romney. He went out of his way to hurt Donald Trump.
I think there is nothing Mitt Romney can say that doesn't sound phony and, frankly, pathetic. Rudy Giuliani would be a great Secretary of State.
I think it's as much a reflection of the fact that this is a guy, the former presidential candidate, who did everything he could to undermine the Republican nominee. And Republican nominees being very gracious in Donald Trump, saying, hey, come on in, we'll meet. And I think it speaks a lot to Trump that he was willing to say, well, man, we had a great conversation. That was really interesting. This is a thoughtful guy. I would consider him. But the loyalists and those who work so hard for Trump say, man, this guy not only worked against you, but he threw you under the bus at every turn. And this is clearly something that Donald Trump is okay, this discourse happening. Let's see how it works out. All these guys are still in the mix, and there's only one person that's going to make this call, and it's President-elect Donald Trump.
And you wonder,
make it when he wants
if this election will be the one that, in this case, might get through the easiest. Because where do you want to have your pitch battle? Do you need to have Rudy Giuliani? But his international business ties and some other things might make it a pitch battle. Would Ambassador Bolton, who had such a hard time he was actually a recess pick of George Bush as UN ambassador, do you want to have that battle? Or do you want to have something to make it a little bit easier?
Sure. I mean, advisors will debate those things because you got to save your political capital for the right moments in the right positions. But my speculation, and I don't know this for sure, but would be that Mr. Trump wants to pick the best person for the job and then go to battle for that person. And probably feels like with Giuliani and some others, the business tie problems are a little bit overhyped. You can lock in Republicans and get a lot of Democrats that would still support
Over the weekend, I met this lady. She lost her son fighting for our country. Her daughter-in-law was pregnant at the time, and they named the son after her child. It's Thanksgiving weekend. The lady was in tears when I was talking to her. It was the book signing this weekend, and people were so they were pro-Trump, they were pro-Fox News, they were pro-veterans. And then I was talking to her, I said, so what do you think about this school, Hampshire College? What do you think about the school that when Hillary wins, they put the flag at half-staff, and then they're saying when she lost. They're saying now, actually, no American flags can fly on that campus. So look at this. These are veterans that are out there protesting, flying that flag proudly. Here's one of the veterans at the protest. This is what he had to say.
Raise your flags, everybody. Raise them high in that air.
This stands for all the veterans around the whole nation. Everybody who fought for this flag. It's more than just a symbol.
I would die for this flag. I fought for this flag. I live for it. You all live for it.
The college president said they're no longer going to actually fly a flag on the flagpole at Hampshire College because it's just not worth the trouble.
First of all, thank God for those vets. Look at that. They're not white, brown, black, or otherwise. They're Americans, and they look to that flag as a symbol of unity. But on college campuses today, and this isn't just on this campus, the flag is seen as a divisive issue. They teach that our history is racist, that our history is one of imperialism, that America is not a special or good country. When that happens, you get administrators, you get students, and then eventually you get voters who don't think America is a special place. That kind of a rally is what Donald Trump is speaking to. Our flag is special. America is a special place. And it shouldn't be that. That's not what we should be debating. What we can all stand for the anthem and then disagree about the things that don't work in this country. Thank goodness those vets are doing it. But it's not just a flag for vets. The flag's for every single American. So every American should be outraged about
Speaking of something that doesn't work for vets in particular is the VA. The Denver Post has got a great op-ed out this weekend called Why American Vets Can't Wait for Slow Change. And what it says is that incremental change doesn't seem to be working.
That's exactly right. They have supported, Denver Post has supported incremental change because they want to be measured about it. Now they're looking at the wreckage of the last 2.5 years and, frankly, what vets face. They say it's time for an overhaul. It's time for people to be fired that aren't getting the job done. It's time to give veterans true choice and allow them to go to a private sector doctor or the VA. And there's bills in Congress, some of which are compromise, watered-down bills, and then some real bills that have some teeth to it. We got to start supporting the bills that really matter. And then Donald Trump creates an amazing opportunity for the VA to be transformed, to put the veteran at the center. It's not about the VA. It's about the vet. Vets first. And when you do that,
he's got to pick the right person.
That's right.
I'm sure he will. All right.
You got it.
Thank you very much for joining us live.